Christian women, we have probably heard it preached many times that God will never leave or forsake you. But I know firsthand and from speaking with many clients that the feelings of abandonment and being alone and unsupported are very real, whether you're a Christian or not. And those are pretty vulnerable and scary emotions. I fully realize that. So what we want to do today is align our beliefs, our true beliefs, the ones that we think in our head and are on replay in our brains all the time, with God's truth. Because we know, the right answer. Yes, God never leaves or forsakes us. That's from Deuteronomy. I'm not just making up Bible verses. God tells us not to be afraid that He will never leave or forsake us. But how many times do you feel terrified that you're all on your own, that you have no support, and that maybe you, in certain situations, you feel like you've even been abandoned? Those are tough. And I want to infuse God's truth into us, me and you, so that we can be comforted by God's truth. So before we get into it, my name is Kate Wood. I am an integrative health and wellness coach. I am also a Christian life coach. I love helping women decrease their overwhelm, decrease their stress, make friends with their emotions so that they can live happy, joyful, peaceful lives. Isn't that what we all want? So let's talk about it, because I speak to a lot of clients who do feel on their own. Not that they don't have wonderful spouses and families, but man, we can get in our heads so fast, can't we? The day is going sideways. We're trying to fall asleep at night. We've woken up in the middle of the night. It is very easy to let our brains and our emotions run wild. And I believe the enemy loves to plant those seeds of doubt and to make us feel isolated, to make us feel alone, to make us feel separated from God, from our families, from our friends, from our church family. We don't work well in that state. It's a terrifying place. It can immobilize us. It can send us into fight or flight. It can make us super stressed out or anxious. I don't want you to feel that way, because I know it doesn't feel good. And so how do we take that biblical truth that God will never leave or forsake us and infuse it into us to such a degree that when we are tempted to isolate, when we are tempted to believe that we are completely unsupported, how can we still know that we know that we know? Because our brains will, I don't know if you get anxious thoughts or like replay situations in your brain. A lot of people do. One way that we can do it is to recognize that those thoughts are from us. It's just a thought. Sometimes we tell ourselves the story so many times. I'm abandoned. I'm alone. I have no support. No one is here to help me. God has left me, for whatever reason we might believe that. When we tell that to ourselves over and over and over again, we start to believe it. We believe it even more than what we believe the Bible says. We need to be in the Bible and in prayer and in communion with God so much that we recognize the lie in the brain immediately. We're like, wait a minute, that's not true. I may, even in my emotions, feel abandoned, feel terrified, all those different emotions. And our emotions feel very true. And I teach women never to ignore their emotions, but sometimes we need to realize that fear and anxiety and panic and abandonment feelings aren't true. We are feeling them. We are experiencing them. That part is true. But the reason we're feeling them isn't. It's stuff that's getting in our head and in our hearts that isn't true. I hope that makes sense. I am not condemning your emotions. It's a reaction with neurotransmitters and all these things going on in your body. And it's a fact of life. But if you're repeatedly feeling terrible, we need to look at, what are you putting into your brain? What are you putting before your eyes? What are you believing deep down? What are your foundational truths and beliefs? And do they actually line up with God's truth? So sometimes we need to call out our thoughts. We're not going to deny that we're terrified or feeling alone or abandoned or sad. Those are human emotions. Jesus felt emotions too. Read through the New Testament. You'll see all about that. Emotions in and of themselves aren't bad. But if we take those feelings and we create a whole reality based on feeling alone, it's going to be really hard for us to accept that God is always with us. And so there may be things in your past, bad things that happened, where it's very hard to believe that God was with you, that He didn't leave or forsake you. And I understand it firsthand. I see it all the time with my clients. Those are moments for faith, right? Because your emotions and your body may tell you you were alone. And your brain may tell you you were alone. We can't see God. And that's where the faith comes in. And that can take big faith. I would love someday for you to say, you know what? God was with me. He did not leave or forsake me. He didn't cause that bad thing to happen. And He was there with me. I would love for you to be able to say that. But you may be like, Kate, you don't know what happened to me. You are correct. I don't. I do want you to know I am a trauma-informed coach. I have taken trainings on that because so many people have experienced trauma in their lives and tough things. So I want you to know I'm here for you on that. But you're right, I don't know. Those bad things that happened, those things you experienced, I'm very sorry. I'm so sorry that you experienced those things, truly. So you may not be able to say, God was with me. He didn't leave me. He didn't forsake me. Open the door to the possibility. So you could start saying things or affirming things in your life. Maybe God was with me. God still loves me. Start to open the door to that possibility and fight back on those thoughts that say, I am forsaken, I'm abandoned, I have no support. Ask God to show you. God, will you please show me that you are with me? You can ask God, God, would you please provide the resources, provide the help? Maybe it's funds, maybe it's someone's expertise, someone to teach you something, article you may come across. God, will you just please bring me a resource so I know I'm not alone, so I'm not just floundering out here in the ocean without a life raft. Pray for those things that you want so badly. Sometimes we're like so in our heads about being alone and forgotten that we forget to ask. And I don't want you to forget to ask. Ask God. He is faithful. He hears your prayers. He loves to bless you. And so once you pray that prayer, be on the lookout for it. We are so ready to look for problems and all the ways that we are alone or unsupported. Start looking for ways that you're supported when resources come to you, and start to magnify that in your eyes and in your heart and in your mind. And you know what? Your emotions start to follow, and that feeling of peace will start to come. That feeling of joy will start to come. I truly believe this, and I believe that God promises this in His Word. If He never leaves or forsakes you, I think that He is happy to show you He's with you. He's happy to lead you and guide you in your next steps. And so I don't want you to stay stuck in that belief. And like I said, we've all experienced hard things, real hard things. It can be like, wow, God was with me except for that thing. Maybe there's just some little pockets where you're like, I don't think God was with me. I think He did forsake me. When you're ready, start to work on those things. Start to open the door to the possibility that God is with you and loves you. And if this is something you want to explore with a Christian life coach, I'm here for you. Go to katewoodcoaching.com and you can check out how I work with clients both one-on-one and in groups. I hope this video helps you. I hope it kind of plants some seeds of possibility in your brain and in your heart so that when you're ready to look at this, we can water that seed and watch it grow.